Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel startuplanes.com. My name is Neha and as you know, these are the series of interviews that we are conducting for the CEOs and founders of some excellent startups. For today's interview, we have with us Mr. Sunil Rana, the co-founder of Kabil Kids. It is an online chess training platform for kids of age 6 to 15 years. They will help leverage the imagination and creativity of your child by teaching them how to play chess at the same time. So do watch this video till the end to know more about them and their offering. Hello sir, my name is Neha and we welcome you for this interview today.
Yeah, hi Neha, my pleasure to be here.
So sir, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Yeah, so my name is Sunil and I have around 15, 17 years of corporate experience working with diverse industries and also across different functions. And now it's been a couple of years that I've took a plunge into entrepreneurship and I drive the brand. I'm building a brand, Kabil Kids now.
That's good. Okay sir. So my very first question is, how did you come up with the idea of doing startup?
Yeah, so I have been a FIDE international chess player, and it's been I started when I was 6 or 7, playing chess, and it's been almost 35 years that I've been playing, and a lot of benefit that chess as a game has, in terms of different life skills that you learn, like strategic thinking, decision making, and how do you handle the pressure. That's the most important part of it. And I always wanted to pass these learnings to my son. While he was growing, he was around 4. He started learning chess. In such a short span of time, I could see a huge difference in his thought process, and that was very encouraging. Because as a parent, you always want that your child to do well, and so that they have a comfortable future, they have all those skills to be able to handle things confidently later on. So that was the thought. And while I was teaching, and then probably it came to a stage where he needed more people to play with, diverse set of children, so that he can get a good practice. And I started looking out for some academies nearby which I could not find. And then there was a trigger for me to actually start on my own, right? So I did that. I took a small, in fact, I started first at my own apartment, taught around 5, 7 kids. Then the space was getting lesser. Then I started looking for a space. I took up a basement in the society where I live in. And I started teaching chess. I think that was in 2015. And for almost 3 years, I taught over 50 to 100 kids. And during that time, there was a lot of intense conversation, discussion with the parents happening. They were taking feedbacks. I was trying to help them with the roadmap, that this is where child is right now and this is how he is moving forward, right? And what I could also see is that I was also developing that passion for teaching, for training. And much more than that, I was solving a real problem that parents were facing: how to leverage the creativity of the children in the right direction, right? So I was doing something very meaningful, and I was getting a lot of satisfaction doing all this. And then I was very clear that I need to now do it at scale. So that's how this idea was born, Kabil Kids, basically to make children Kabil in true sense and help them become the future, become ready for the future by giving them those key life skills. So that's how it all began. Yeah.
So sir, my next question is, what was the most difficult part in the early stages of the company's growth?
Okay. I think this is synonymous with many startups, I guess. That's my assumption. Because when you are starting, you don't have money, you don't have anything, rather, no resources, be it in terms of people, in terms of money, right? And that's a very difficult stage. And I think that's the stage that every entrepreneur, has to cross. and keep that in mind. I think we had those tough times, especially when we began pre-pandemic. Uh, we had a different setup. We had done some investments into the infrastructure, and then all of a sudden the pandemic struck, right?
Yeah.
So all those investments, were kind of gone down to the drain, and then you had to restart everything again, right? With a very minimal money that you were left with, right? And the motivation of the team was also at that time low for some of the team members, right? So that was the time as an entrepreneur, you have to drive that energy, you have to drive everyone and give them a faith and belief that yes, we will kind of bounce back and we will kind of come back to to the main on the main track, right? And that's what we did. After the pandemic struck, we pivoted. We were completely online in EdTech, and so that day and now we are now almost 350 plus children across 7 to 8 countries right now that we are serving. Yeah,
that's good. So, what was the gap in the market that you identified?
See, the gap. I would say that, as I said, the kind of problem that we are solving is helping parents to leverage the creativity of their children in the right direction, right? So there was not a go-to kind of a platform where parents can have a trust and then they are having their children to learn from there, right? So that is what we were trying to create. That's the gap that we kind of identified and trying to create our own niche. So where parents have a trust, confident that yes, this is the platform where my child is going to be learning, my child is going to be nurtured the right way. So that was the gap, yeah.
So sir, please explain your business model.
See, our business model is a subscription-based model, right? So it's like we have a live chess training that we do, and we have a very structured curriculum around it, so that there is a standardization. And though within the curriculum, each trainer will have their own ways to disseminate the information to a child, right? So that uniqueness, while we are trying to maintain the uniqueness that each trainer has, at the same time there is a standardization so that in case so that the learning journey is effective and is continuous, right? We have different price packages. As and when customers exhaust those packages, then they again renew at regular intervals. So yeah, so that's the model that we have.
Yes, sir. So sir, please tell the viewers about the products or services that you offer.
See, our product is live chess training, right? So when we say live chess training, it also, the curriculum is designed in such a way that it inculcates the life skills in the children, right? So if I talk about the life skills, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, and decision making, right? So the curriculum is designed in such a way that, there are a lot of these real life analogies that we would give to a child. So let me give you an example. So if you're familiar with chess, it's like white and black pieces, they are fighting with each other, right? So it's kind of a battleground. So let's say you have white pieces, right? So you need to make sure that you are defeating the opponent by giving a checkmate. Checkmate is a position where you actually don't leave any chance for the opponent's king to go to a safe square, right? But then how do you do that? It is being done with a lot of planning, a lot of strategy, right? And a lot of teamwork. So very often it happens the child actually picks one or two pieces and they think that, okay, we are going to be going to the front and then capture the pieces and attack the king and eventually win the game. But it doesn't happen, right? You have to have a proper plan. You need to see that all your pieces are talking to each other. they are well coordinated, right? So when you go as a group, when you go with the proper plan, with the proper strategy, right, that's when you are impactful to the opponent, and the opponent will not be able to resist your attack, right? So this is how, you know, we bring in a lot of innovation and real life analogies so that the child actually understands the underlying concept, and at the same time they understand the real life challenges. Because ultimately when these children will go back to a normal life after the school and the college, right, they will face numerous challenges, right? So they need to have an attitude which is like, you know, kind of a never giving up attitude, right? We don't give up. There will be so many problems. I give you a very latest example of the COVID-19, which has struck the entire world. A lot of people have kind of they don't know what to do, how to handle this, right? But a lot of them have taken this as an opportunity. They did not give up. They are still fighting it out, and they could still make their personal lives or their businesses work, right? So that is the attitude that we are inculcating in a young child. Because at the foundation age, if the children are confident, if they are mentally very strong, right, they can handle any adversity, they can handle any tough situation in their life. And that's exactly what a parent wants. And that is exactly what a promise that we have to a parent. You know, so that's what our offering is as a complete product.
All right, sir. So, sir, what are the 3 unique things that makes you better than your competitors?
First of all, I think we are very clear that we are our own competition. You know, so when you are your own competition, right, then there is always that drive to be better with each day in whatever that you are doing, right? So definitely you keep a tab of the competition as well. But I think the more that you keep yourself as a competition always helps, and you become so strong is what we strongly believe in. In terms of the 3 things, yes, you know, so we have a very innovative pedagogy, as I was just explaining, which inculcates the life skills, right? So that's how the entire curriculum is being designed. Secondly, the set of trainers that we have, not only do they have the technical expertise, but at the same time they understand the child psychology, they understand the child behavior, right? So that is our USP, because when you're dealing with a child who is only 5, 6 or 7-year old, right, they have different type of behaviors. You ought to have a lot of patience to be able to understand that small child's thought process. Only when you are comfortable with a child, only then the dissemination of information is seamless, right? So that was number 2. And number 3, we have a very good learning management system platform, where it throws a lot of analytics through which we get to know how a child is thinking. So for example, if you ask a grade 2 or a grade 3 child, how much is 7 multiplied by, let's say 7, right? So we know the correct answer is 49. But with the grade 2 or the grade 3 child, they may say 46, 47, 50, or maybe in the 4th or the 5th attempt, they might give the right answer. So the normal way that parents behave is, okay, we kind of applaud, or, you know, that's how, you know, we have been, you know, complimenting. That's how we have been seeing these things as, right? But for us, what's more important is the process. Though he may have given the right answer, but we would actually check in how many attempts did the child give the right answer. More the number of attempts, it tells you that the concept was not clear, or the child was doing kind of a hit and try, right? So if he is taking lesser attempts, it means that the child had understood the concept very clearly, right? So that tool actually tells us, you know, all these minute details in terms of how many attempts the child took to give the right answer, to solve the problem, and in how many seconds it took him to arrive at the right answer, right? Plus, we have got a lot of assignments that we give to a child, which actually helps us to keep children engaged during the off training hours, and at the same time they get to practice. They get to practice the concept that they have learned in the class, so that the learning curve is much faster. Yeah, so these three things we feel that we are doing really great at.
Okay, sir. So, sir, my next question is, why should a job applicant work with you?
Okay. See, first of all, we are very clear that we are not fit for anyone and anybody, right? So, as a culture, we are very much performance driven. As a culture, we are very much somebody who has aspirations to achieve something, right? To do something. So that is the kind of mindset that we have, as a team, because we believe that it's really important to have that culture fit. We may not be very choosy about the skills, but we are very choosy about the culture fit. If there is somebody who really want to do something and aspire to do something bigger, right, and are okay to explore themselves in an uncharted territory, so these kind of people really make a cut for us, and we are kind of a heaven for for such people, such resources. And then we believe that if all such people with the right with the same thought process, we unite, we can create much bigger things.
Okay, sir. So, if it wasn't for your company, what would you be doing right now?
I don't know. I have no idea what I would be doing. Maybe I would be in a corporates, or I would be, I don't know what. I have no idea. Not sure.
Okay, sir. So, sir, are you looking for any vendors to help you simplify any part of your business?
Yeah, I mean, we eventually are looking to build up our tech capacity. We'll be building our own tech team. So definitely yes. In the near future, if there is something that you can really help us build, that will be really great. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, please tell the viewers about your recent and long-term plans for the startup.
Okay. So if I talk about the recent, so I'll just say for the next 9 to 12 months, maybe next 1 year or so. As of now, we are 350 plus active kids who are learning from us, and we are targeting 2,000 children in the next 1 year. And the long-term plans that we have, so we see ourselves as a global leader into the chess live training in the next 5 years. So probably somewhere in the range of let's say 100,000 to 500,000. So that is where we would like to see ourselves as. That's it.
Okay, sir. So, sir, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to the budding entrepreneurs?
I think different things work for different people. I have a very strong belief that as an entrepreneur, you are going to juggle with multiple things at the same time, and the journey is never going to be easy, right? So I strongly believe that one has to be really mad about your idea, your vision, your goals, because if that madness is there, right, so that will drive you, and that madness is very infectious. It will always, in all likelihood, will drive your environment around you. It will kind of energize the whole environment, and that's very important. This is not for somebody who thinks very logically, or people would want to come up with a lot of planning and then try and test themselves into the entrepreneurship. I think it doesn't work that way. right? You ought to have that madness element in you to be able to jump into the ocean, jump into the sea, and then probably figure out and navigate the ways to kind of float, right? So I think that's what my advice would be to the budding entrepreneurs.
Okay, sir. So, sir, thank you for your time. It was great having you with us here, and we wish you all the best for all the future endeavors.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neha. It was really my pleasure at the same time, and I look forward to having such conversations.